Hey, this is Al Cobb with the SIP School. Welcome back. We're going to talk with Jonathan. Jonathan's here, the CEO of Sustent, who manufactures a complete line of products. And the one that we're going to be talking about today is SIP Seal's Vapor Tape. Tell me about the Vapor Tape, Jonathan.
Well, Vapor Tape is a product that was developed for the SIPs industry primarily as a zero perm tape to seal up critical joints in building envelopes.
Fantastic. So we've got a number of different widths of tape, right?
Yep.
So your narrowest tape is a 4-inch tape?
Yeah, so we have 4-inch, 6-inch, 9-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch for those great big old ridge.
Right, and we'll show here in just a second why it is we might need that big wide 18-inch tape.
Right.
So the material in general is, what is it? What's it made up of?
Well, it's a synthetic rubber adhesive. There's no solvents, but and the nature of the product means that it works in all temperatures. Is a very, very tacky adhesive.
Serious tack.
Serious tack.
So the tape has a release paper, and that release paper exposes the tackiness of it. And in a standard in-plane SIP joint like we have here, we have two pieces of panel. The panels come together. They've been sealed internally, hopefully by using your product, the SIP Seal Mastic, on the inside.
Yep.
So now we have the primary seal. So now we look to the tape as becoming the secondary seal. So along that joint line where the release paper might be removed accordingly, and we can place that at the joint line, right? And then as we simply remove that seal paper, we come, and it comes in over top of it, right? So now we've got that tape trying to make it as flat as possible. So, is that good enough?
No, that's not good enough.
So we need a little bit more pressure to get that bond
there's
strength.
just not enough pressure with your hand.
So we have two options?
Two options. We have a scraper,
right?
Putty knife. You can work it this way, work out the wrinkles.
Right.
You can see the difference it makes. Another idea,
roller
works really well as a roller.
Or J-roller or a laminate roller.
Right.
So it applies a lot of pressure to a pointed area.
Right. So this is a narrow roller, but a 3 or 4-inch J-roller works great. But the idea really is to get more pressure at a point to drive the adhesive into the OSB. The OSB has got a lot of texture to it.
Right.
And
What about nail penetration or staple penetration? Is that going to create a leak?
No, it's nail sealable.
So it's nail sealable. All right, here's the favorite question. What side do we put it on?
Oh, always the warm side.
The warm side. So the code says if we need a vapor barrier, the vapor barrier always goes to the warm side. Now we talked about the really wide tape, and that really wide tape comes into play when we're doing something like a ridge beam.
Yep.
A ridge beam. So the joint at the ridge, two simulated roof panels coming together at the ridge. Now this is what we would call a critical joint.
This is a very critical joint. Hot air rises. This is where everything's trying to go, is right through that ridge joint.
The dreaded stack effect. We'll talk more about that in other SIP School videos if you want to get deep in the weeds in building science. But anyway, so we have air that can potentially come up here, warm air, hopefully not moisture-laden warm air, and get through the ridge and come in contact with a cold surface. That's when bad things start to happen. So if we want to fly our roof panels in on this ridge, we can't necessarily put them together and then tape the bottom and then drop them down together. That's not going to work. So that's why we come into the thicker tapes, and why the release paper on these thicker tapes looks like this.
Right. So what we
Show me what we have here.
Yeah. So what we have is approximately 3 inches of slit on each side.
Right.
And this is true of the 12-inch and the 18-inch. This is the 18-inch.
Right. So with the narrower ones, of course, just have two pieces.
Right.
But if you were going to use the tape, you want to make sure that the release paper is up, and that release paper is to the top side, and you're going to drape the tape over the structural element, whatever that might be, that would interfere with taping the joint.
Yep.
And then after the panels drop in on top of that tape, and you've sealed the joint inside, now we have the ability to do exactly what you're showing.
To pull this and adhere this part, and actually the middle part doesn't adhere at all.
Doesn't adhere at all. So it's just this strip along the side that then gets pulled up, comes in contact with the roof panel, and gets sealed with a scraper or a J-roller.
That's
and
right.
it gives that seal back in there. So the material is a vapor barrier, right? Zero perms.
Zero perms.
So it remains flexible,
Yes.
all weather.
All weather.
It's going to stick in the winter as well as the summer.
Yes.
Self-sealing.
Self-sealing.
It is the belt and suspenders for sealing critical SIP joints. It's great material. I've used a lot of this. It works very well. It's well worth the cost to give you the peace of mind that you've got an airtight joint, especially in those critical areas.
That's right. Yeah, we want a product, that's going to ensure that this building envelope is staying airtight for decades.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you very much.